Hello, Golden State Warriors fan. We're back with an exclusive video bringing you the latest updates. First of all, subscribe to the channel and like the video. It's crucial for you to stay informed with the news daily. Without further ado, let's get to the news. The whispers started softly, almost imperceptibly, like that background hum you only notice when someone suddenly mutes the TV. Buddy Hield, the sharpshooter the Warriors believe could be their perfect floor-spacing spark, might already be packing his bags. People close to the situation swear that the vibe in Golden State has shifted dramatically in the last few weeks, and Hield seems to feel it more than anyone. Teammates have noticed the way he lingers a little after practice, staring at the empty court as if trying to imagine a different uniform on his chest. And trust me, when players start doing that kind of mental math, it's never just about minutes played or touches per game. It's about whether they still fit the script the franchise wants to keep writing. Rumors suggest the Warriors initially saw him as a bridge between eras, but the chemistry hasn't clicked like they hoped. Now insiders are murmuring that Phoenix has emerged as a real, very real, escape route. And let me tell you, once Suns management gets an idea in their head, they chase it like a desert storm chasing heat. The murmur got louder when someone reported seeing Buddy chatting quietly with a Suns assistant during that last road trip. You know how it is, players talk all the time, but this time the energy felt different. Not the usual post-game, hey bro, how's the family type of talk, but the kind where everyone around pretends not to notice, which only makes it more obvious. People who were courtside said Buddy looked lighter, almost relieved during that conversation, like he was finally letting out air he didn't realize he'd been holding in. Add to that a couple of cryptic social media posts. Nothing outrageous, just vague enough to stir the pot, and suddenly the rumor mill is spinning like a broken fan. Some sources claim the Warriors wouldn't block a move if the right opportunity showed up, and the Suns, desperate for more consistent perimeter firepower next to their star trio, might see Buddy as the missing piece. The timing lines up too well to ignore, and you know in the NBA timing is everything. Then there's the part nobody wants to admit publicly, but everyone's whispering about privately. But he hasn't fully adapted to the Warriors system. You can see it in the hesitations, the forced shots, the occasional miscommunication that feels weird for a veteran of his caliber. Golden State's offense demands an almost telepathic rhythm. And while Buddy has had his moments, big moments, there's a sense he's playing inside someone else's blueprint rather than painting with his own colors. Some insiders say he feels restricted, like he's being coached into a mold that doesn't quite fit the player he wants to be. And Phoenix, with its more star-centric approach and dynamic spacing, would allow him to breathe differently on the court. It's the kind of place where a shooter like Buddy could rediscover his natural flow, running off quick screens, catching fire in transition, and really feeling like himself again. That possibility alone seems to be tugging at him. People close to the Warriors insist there's no tension, at least nothing dramatic, but you can sense that the franchise is recalibrating. They're juggling the pressures of winning now while trying to reconstruct the identity that once made them unstoppable. Buddy, unfortunately, has landed right in the middle of that reconstruction, and it's not clear whether he's supposed to be a foundational piece or just a temporary tenant. Meanwhile, Phoenix isn't waiting around. Their front office has been buzzing, quietly exploring ways to surround their stars with even more reliable scoring options, especially ones who won't demand the ball to make an impact. Buddy checks every box on that list. And the way insiders talk about it, the Suns are ready to swoop in at the first sign that Golden State's resolve is softening. That's how these things start. One camp hesitates, the other advances. What's really fueling the fire now is the chatter between agents. Agents talk more than anyone in the league. They're the ones who plant seeds long before the rest of us even smell the soil. Apparently, Buddy's camp has been subtly testing the waters, asking around about what a potential fit in Phoenix might look like, what kind of role he'd have, how the rotations would adjust. That's not the kind of thing you do lightly, especially not during the season, when every move gets magnified. Some of those conversations have trickled out, and every drop has only added momentum to the rumor. Phoenix, they say, has quietly reassured that yes, there's a path for him, yes, his shooting would be valued, and yes, they see him as more than just a bench spark. And look, if a player feels truly wanted somewhere else, that alone can change everything. By the time the rumor reached fans, it had already evolved into something bigger, almost unstoppable. Warriors supporters began dissecting lineup combinations, wondering how the team would adjust without Buddy spacing. Suns fans, on the other hand, are practically salivating at the idea of adding another dangerous shooter to an already explosive offense. Social media threads have become battlegrounds of speculation, with people posting fake sightings, mock trade packages, and wild interpretations of random facial expressions during games. You know how NBA Twitter gets. One harmless gesture suddenly becomes undeniable proof that a blockbuster move is imminent. And when the noise gets this loud, it's hard to believe there isn't at least some truth woven into the chaos. Behind closed doors, the conversations have supposedly reached a more serious tone, at least according to those who claim to be in the know. Front offices are masters of silence until they need to act, but players can feel when something is brewing. Buddy's demeanor lately has carried that subtle weight, the kind you recognize if you've followed enough players during uncertain stretches. He's been professional, no drama, no tension blowing up on camera, but insiders say he's been quieter, more reflective. Sometimes that's just the NBA grind, but sometimes it's the mind preparing for a shift. And Phoenix, sensing the opportunity, is rumored to be positioning itself strategically, lining up optional pathways so they can move fast when the window cracks open. That's classic Suns behavior. Strike before the entire league even catches on. What really has people buzzing is the idea of how Buddy would integrate into Phoenix's offensive schemes. Imagine him spotting up while the defense collapses on Booker's drives, or drifting into open pockets while Durant manipulates double teams. It's the kind of situation shooters dream about: clean looks, predictable rhythms, and endless spacing created by stars who attract gravity like supernovas. And from everything being whispered, that's exactly what Phoenix has pitched behind the scenes. Come here, and your strengths won't just be tolerated, they'll be maximized. Warriors fans may not want to hear it, but the Suns' playstyle probably fits Buddy's natural instincts more than Golden State's read and react complexity. That contrast is driving half the speculation. One of the wildest aspects of this whole situation is how fast it blew up. At first, it felt like typical deadline season noise, the kind that pops up whenever a team hits a rough patch or a role player doesn't get the minutes he wants. But within days, it mutated from maybe something small happens to hold up, this might actually be real. Reporters haven't confirmed anything, of course. They're playing it safe like they always do when the air smells like smoke, but they can't see flames yet. But the people who hang around locker rooms, shoot-arounds, and team flights can feel when energy shifts. The Warriors, historically one of the league's calmest front offices, suddenly feel unsettled. Not chaotic, just unsettled enough that a move like this wouldn't surprise anyone anymore. If the trade does happen, the ripple effects will be massive. For Golden State, it might signal a pivot away from trying to patch the roster with specialists and a return to building long-term pieces around their remaining core, whatever that ends up looking like. Some insiders say the team might prefer a younger, more versatile player in return, someone who aligns better with whatever new phase the franchise believes it's entering. Meanwhile, Phoenix could instantly upgrade its bench scoring, or even slide Buddy into a more prominent rotation spot, depending on how he meshes with the stars. And don't underestimate the psychological momentum a move like this can create. Sometimes a single acquisition changes an entire team's confidence overnight. Something else to consider is how the players themselves feel about all this. Locker room dynamics are delicate ecosystems, and even rumors can shake things loose. Some Warriors players might feel the pressure if the front office starts shifting pieces again, while Suns players could interpret this as management going all in. And trust me, when a team goes all in, players respond. It creates urgency, excitement, sometimes even ego clashes, but it always changes the atmosphere. People close to the Suns say their core is fully aligned on wanting more shooting, more secondary scoring, more threats who won't slow the pace. Buddy fits that profile like a glove, and apparently the Stars have made that known to leadership. As for Buddy himself, the narrative is turning almost cinematic. A veteran marksman, still capable of elite bursts, stuck between two different basketball philosophies, and now possibly choosing the one that gives him the freedom he's been craving. Some say he wants a bigger role. Others say he just wants clarity. But the strongest whispers suggest he wants to feel essential again, not just like a plug-and-play option. Phoenix might give him that sense of belonging, that sense of identity. And if you followed NBA history, you know players often thrive the moment they land somewhere that genuinely values their craft. Maybe that's why this rumor refuses to die. The noise around Buddy HIELD's possible shift to Phoenix has reached such a fever pitch that insiders say even players from other teams are starting to whisper about it during warm-ups. That's when you know something is really circulating, when guys who aren't even involved start asking, "Hey, you think Buddy's really leaving Golden State?" And what's wild is that the answers aren't the usual shrugs or jokes. Instead, you're hearing a lot of those thoughtful, slow maybe responses. The kind that means something is being floated behind the curtain. Some players say the Warriors' coaching staff has been unusually guarded lately, keeping rotations and lineups closer to the vest than usual. Combine that with the sudden maintenance days for certain vets, and it feels like the team is preparing for some kind of shift. Meanwhile, Phoenix players are reportedly hyped at just the idea. You can imagine the excitement in that locker room. Guys texting each other, imagining new lineups, visualizing how many open corner threes Buddy would get in a Suns jersey. Even if nothing's finalized, energy like that doesn't come out of nowhere. Beyond the teams, the agents are stirring the pot in ways that only agents can. They're sending out those subtle feelers that never confirm anything, but say just enough to keep the rumor alive. You know the type. If a move were to happen, hypothetically, that's agent language for we're deeper into this than anyone can admit. People close to Buddy say he's not stressed, but he's clearly alert. He's picking his words carefully in interviews, keeping his body language calm, but you can see that slight spark in his eye, like a man who knows a door is unlocking somewhere. And the thing about NBA veterans is they can smell opportunity. Phoenix isn't just a team. It's a chance to redefine his narrative, to become more than a role player floating between systems. If he does land there, his stock could explode. That's why agents are playing chess right now, moving pieces without touching the board. Another detail insiders keep hinting at is the so-called quiet approval of key voices in Phoenix. Apparently, Phoenix's stars, those guys who carry the franchise's gravitational pull, have already given the nod behind the scenes. Not an official approval, of course, but more like a vibe check. Yeah, he'd fit with us kind of thing. And in today's NBA, that's more powerful than any formal vote. Teams build around stars, not systems. And if the stars want Buddy's shooting, movement, and veteran presence, the front office listens. Meanwhile, Golden State seems torn. Some staff reportedly believe Buddy still has untapped potential in their scheme, that he just needs time to sync with a motion-heavy style. But others think the team is drifting toward a new identity, more athleticism, more youth, more versatility. And players like Buddy, who thrive on clearly defined roles, might not fit that puzzle anymore. That internal tug-of-war is exactly what gives rumors like this their staying power. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. What's fueling even more speculation is Buddy's recent on-court behavior. Observers say he's been more generous with the ball, more composed, more team-first than ever. Almost like a veteran showcasing his professionalism for potential suitors. It's not unusual for players in rumored trade scenarios to polish their body of work, to remind teams what they bring both statistically and emotionally. And Phoenix sees that. They're watching every game, every clip, every hesitation, every cut. Their analytics department is reportedly drooling over his shot charts, especially the zones where he thrives in catch-and-shoot situations. Add to that the fact that Phoenix loves shooters who don't overcomplicate the offense. They want guys who pull the trigger confidently, and Buddy fits like a glove. Even his weaknesses, like streakiness or occasional defensive lapses, are things Phoenix believes they can cover with their system. That's why the Suns are circling. But there's also a deeper layer fans rarely see: personal aspirations. People close to Buddy say he's entering that phase of his career where legacy starts to matter. Not rings in the abstract sense, but contribution, role, identity, how he's remembered. And he knows Phoenix is in a win-now window, while Golden State feels suspended in a weird space between eras. The Suns can offer clarity, a role, a purpose, a guarantee of being part of the nightly blueprint. The Warriors, through no fault of their own, are juggling too many what-ifs. And players feel that. Buddy reportedly wants the kind of environment where he wakes up knowing exactly who he is to the team, what the team expects, and how he'll be deployed. Phoenix is selling exactly that vision behind closed doors. And the more Buddy hears it, the more the idea seems to settle into his mind. By now, the rumor has transformed into this living organism, growing teeth and momentum. Fans are dissecting flight schedules, jersey number availability, even press conference phrasing. It's wild how deep the community goes when they smell a potential move. And honestly, the more you look at all the moving parts, the vibes, the whispers, the subtle alignments, the less it feels like just a rumor and the more it feels like a matter of timing. Maybe days, maybe weeks, but the energy is unmistakably shifting. And if the Warriors decide it's time to pivot, or if Buddy decides the fit isn't what he envisioned, Phoenix will be right there, arms open, plan ready, waiting for that green light. And when it happens, if it happens, don't say the signs weren't there. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.